Muhammad Ali. In 1996, at the start of the 24th Olympic Games in Atlanta, Georgia, this great American hero lit the Olympic flame. Who is this man? Why is he a great American hero? These are difficult questions. To answer them, we must go back over 50 years. In 1942, when our hero was born, he was given the name Cassius Clay. He was born into a poor, working-class black family in Louisville, Kentucky. When Cassius was a teenager, life for black families was very hard. While white Americans were becoming rich and building nice houses, schools, and hospitals, black Americans were still very poor. Cassius Clay never liked his name because it was a white man's name. It was not a name that came from his ancestors, but rather it was the name of the slave owner who owned his family years before. As a child, Cassius Clay was furious with how white Americans treated black Americans. When Cassius was 12, he started to box under the instructions of a policeman named Joe Martin. Martin and others immediately saw that Cassius was a great boxer. By the time he was 17, he had won a very important championship for young boxers, the Golden Gloves Championship. Then, in 1960, at the age of 18, Cassius went to the Olympics in Rome and won a gold medal. He was on his way to becoming one of the greatest boxers in history. After Cassius won a gold medal at the Olympics, he became a professional boxer. His goal was to become the heavyweight champion of the world. This is the highest title that a boxer can receive. Cassius quickly became very famous. This was because he was not only a great boxer, but he was also a good showman. He would make up sayings about himself and other boxers. His most famous line was, "I float like a butterfly and sting like a bee." Cassius always said that he was the greatest boxer ever. This made some people angry because he was so young and he had not yet fought the greatest boxers of the time. But Cassius was a great boxer and had a new style of boxing. On February 25, 1964, Clay fought Sonny Liston, the greatest boxer at that time, for the title of heavyweight champion of the world. Of course, everyone thought that Liston would easily win. Cassius was called the underdog. That means that everyone thought he was going to lose. It was a very good fight. Both men fought hard for a long time. Suddenly, to everyone's surprise, Cassius knocked out Liston and won the match, becoming the heavyweight champion of the world. 2 days later, Cassius joined the Nation of Islam. This is a group of black people who are committed to Allah and who take care of their bodies by not smoking, drinking, or acting immorally. They also fight for a better life for black people in America. At this time, Cassius Clay gave up his slave name that he hated so much and chose a name based on his new religion. Since then, he has been called Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali reached his goal and became the greatest boxer in the world. Over the next 3 years, he fought in many matches and won every one of them. He was truly the greatest fighter ever. Then, something very terrible happened to Muhammad Ali. On April 28, 1967, Muhammad Ali was drafted into the United States Army to fight the war in Vietnam. However, he did not want to go to Vietnam because his religion taught him this war was not just. Ali did not want to kill people who were not his enemies. Because he refused to join the army, his title of heavyweight champion was taken away from him, and he was not allowed to box anywhere in the United States. Then, on June 20th, 1967, the government held a formal trial, and Ali was convicted of refusing to join the army and sentenced to 5 years in prison. During the late 1960s, Ali was very active in the civil rights movement. He encouraged black people to stand up against white people. Finally, in 1970, Ali was allowed to continue his boxing career. Over the next 10 years, Muhammad Ali was truly the greatest boxer in the world. As Ali got older, his religious beliefs strengthened. He no longer hates white people like he used to when he was young. He believes that all people must work together to create a better world and prepare themselves for heaven. Because Ali was a great boxer, he made a lot of money. However, he shared his money with the poor. He gave money to build schools, hospitals, and Islamic religious centers. In 1981, after 22 years of boxing, Ali retired with one of the best records of all time. In his career, he competed in 61 fights. He won 56 of them and only lost 5. A year later, doctors discovered that Ali had a disease called Parkinson's disease. Because of this disease, Ali is not able to speak well, and he moves very slowly. However, his disease has not affected his mind. He still thinks very clearly. To honor Muhammad Ali for his great contributions to sports and society, Ali was chosen to light the Olympic flame at the start of the 24th Olympic Games in Atlanta, Georgia. And now you know why Muhammad Ali is a great American hero. The April Fools.
The origin of April Fool's Day dates back so long ago that it is not clear when or how it got started. Some historians say the day for fooling began in France when King Charles IV agreed to change the yearly calendar. He moved New Year's Day from April 1st to January 1st. Long ago there lived a boy named Louis. He always insisted on being right, so he did not listen very well to others. His neighbors did not like him.
Louis always thinks that he is right.
Yes, he does. Even when he is wrong, he never admits it.
One day, the king made an announcement about the new calendar.
Hey, did you hear that we have a new calendar?
Yes, I heard that too. According to the new calendar, New Year's Day does not fall on April 1st anymore. Now, it is on January 1st.
Now we have to celebrate New Year's Day on January 1st, when it is cold.
That's right. By the way, do you think Louis also knows about this?
Most of the villagers here might already know about it by this time. But he will not accept the change because, as you know, he is stubborn.
Then Louis came by.
Hey, Louis! Do you know we need to celebrate New Year's Day on January 1st?
Ha ha! You believe the rumor? You know we always celebrate the new year on April 1st. You are so foolish.
Now is our chance to play a trick on him.
Yeah! Ha ha! This is going to be fun.
The next day, Louis's friend called Louis into the house.
Hey, Louis, Will you do me a favor?
If I can.
Look, I broke my leg. Now I cannot deliver this important message to the lord of the next village. Would you take this message to him for me?
I have work to do, but it is not far to the next village anyway. So I'll do it, but just this once.
So Louis went to the next village.
Knock, knock. Hi, this letter is from our village.
The servant read the letter and laughed. Interesting, but I am sorry. This letter is not for the lord of this village. Would you deliver this to the lord in the next village? So Louis went to another village. The servant of the lord of that village also laughed when he read it.
Thank you, but this letter is not for my master. Please, take it over to the lord of the next village.
Louis thought this was very strange.
Didn't my friend know the right village to send this letter to?
But he could not walk any more because he was very tired.
The next village is too far away. I think that I have walked far enough. My friend must be wrong. I will return the letter to him.
So Louis returned home. He was very tired.
Why did everyone laugh when they read this letter?
Out of curiosity, he opened the letter. The letter said,
The new calendar moved New Year's Day from April 1st to January 1st. But I will celebrate New Year's Day on April 1st because I refuse to change. I am an April Fool. Please, send me to the lord of another village.
Many people did not know about this change because it was difficult to communicate in those days. So, some people continued to celebrate New Year's Day on April 1st. These people were called April Fools. This story is based on a famous joke in Scotland.
The Christmas Kettle. They come out onto the streets every year around Christmas time. They are dressed in army-style uniforms, and they carry a bell and a kettle. People walking by often stop and put some money into their kettles. Who are these people with the red kettles? And why do people give them money? They are members of the Salvation Army, which is a group of Christians who serve God by helping the poor. Over 100 years ago, William Booth, a Christian minister in London, England, organized a small church group to help feed and provide housing for the poor. In a few years, more people began to join his group, and so William Booth decided to organize his church like an army. Booth became the general of the army, and his ministers became the officers. But unlike other armies that fight and kill people, Booth's army fought for God and the poor. Many people were attracted to Booth's church because it was not very formal. In Booth's church, people sang joyful songs, played instruments, and clapped their hands. At his church, praising God was fun. Also, all people were treated equally and fairly in the Salvation Army. It didn't matter if you were rich or poor, a man or a woman. Catherine Booth, William Booth's wife, was also very involved in the army. She believed that women and men were equal in every way. So, in their church, the female members and the male members were all treated the same. Many women were able to become officers in the army. Many Christians began to join the Salvation Army, and soon their church services were full, and they began helping the poor in great ways. Before long, they started to spread out around the world. Some officers went to Australia, and others to America. It was in America that one of these officers began the Christmas Kettle. In 1891, Captain Joseph McPhee
decided that he wanted to provide a free Christmas dinner for the poor people in San Francisco. However, he didn't have enough money to pay for it. He spent several days thinking about how he was going to raise enough money for his plan. Then he came up with a great idea. He remembered back when he lived in Liverpool, England. People in that city had a large pot that they put money into for the poor. So the next day he got permission to set up a similar pot near the docks where the San Francisco ferry came in. As people got on and off the ferry, they saw his pot and read a sign asking for donations for the poor. He also put a smaller pot, called an urn, in the ferry waiting room. It was a wonderful success. Captain McPhee gathered enough money together that Christmas to provide the poor people in San Francisco with a good Christmas dinner. By 1895, the idea of Christmas kettles spread all across the west coast of the United States. The Salvation Army soon began preparing over 30 large Christmas dinners for thousands of poor people. Then, in 1897, a young officer named William McIntyre, who had helped Captain McPhee start the Christmas kettles, was sent to the east coast of the United States. He wanted to bring the Christmas kettle tradition with him. However, when he arrived in Boston, the other officers thought it was a strange idea and refused to help him. But the poor people were very lucky because McIntyre didn't listen to the other officers. McIntyre, his wife, and his sister went onto the streets of Boston with their kettles and began to raise money for a Christmas dinner for the poor. That year, over 150,000 people across the United States received a good Christmas dinner. Over 100 years later, the tradition of the Salvation Army Christmas dinner is stronger than ever. The kettles are now used all over the world to help make Christmas better for unfortunate people. In addition to helping the poor, the Army also provides dinners for elderly people without families, sick people in hospitals, and even prisoners in jail. Of course, these days the kettles look very different from the old pot that McPhee used in San Francisco. Some have fancy, self-ringing bells, and others have speakers to play traditional Christmas carols. However, they still give the same message that sharing is caring. The Christmas dinner is very important for the Salvation Army, but it is not the only way they help others. In over 80 countries throughout the world, the people of the Salvation Army operate hospitals, schools, and homeless shelters. They truly are God's soldiers.
The Diary of Amelia Earhart. This is a story about Amelia Earhart. She was an airplane pilot and a great American hero. On July 2nd, 1937, the airplane that Amelia Earhart was flying crashed near Howland Island. Howland Island is in the Pacific Ocean. For many months, people searched for Amelia Earhart's plane, but it was never found. Since 1937, there have been many other expeditions to find Amelia's plane, but no one has been able to find it. Amelia Earhart was born on July 24th, 1897, to Amy and Edwin Earhart. She was born in Kansas City, but lived all over the United States. When she was 10, her family moved to Iowa.
July 24th, 1908. Today is my 11th birthday. It was a great day. Father took us to the Iowa State Fair. It was very exciting. I saw an airplane for the first time. It was a strange-looking thing, and I can't imagine flying in it.
In February of 1917, Amelia became a nurse in the American Army. For 2 years, she served in Europe. She helped save many lives during the war.
November 11th, 1918. The war has finally ended, and I am going back to the United States. It was a terrible war. I tried to help as many soldiers as I could, but many men died. I hope there is never another war again.
After the war, Amelia went to California to be with her mother and father. It was in California that Amelia fell in love with flying.
May 10, 1920. Today was the most exhilarating day of my life. I went with Father to Darty Field. We watched an air show. Then I got a chance to fly in an airplane, and I loved it. I have to fly again. June 5th, 1920. I met Netta today. She is going to give me flying lessons. I am going to become an airplane pilot. July 9th, 1920. Today I bought an airplane and named it the Canary. Unfortunately, I got into a very small accident when I was flying the plane. But tomorrow will be better. November 15th, 1920. This was the worst day of my life. I had another accident in my airplane. Netta thinks that I may never be a good pilot. Mother and Father agree with her and want me to stop flying. But I will never stop. Flying is my life now. I will show them that I can be a great pilot. I will become the best pilot ever.
Amelia never gave up. She worked very hard for the next 8 years. She became an excellent pilot. During those 8 years, she also became a famous pilot. In fact, the Boston Globe called her the best woman pilot in the United States.
September 2nd, 1928. I am so excited. I got a call from Captain Rayleigh. He asked me to become the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. I will have to train for 4 years. It will be a very difficult flight for me. May 20th, 1932. I did it! I flew across the Atlantic by myself. It was not easy. I had to fly through a thunderstorm and heavy fog. All I had to eat on the trip was some soup and a can of juice. When I arrived, there were hundreds of people waiting for me. They were all cheering.
Hooray! Hooray!
June 15, 1932. What a day! First, there was a parade given for me in New York City. Thousands of people came out onto the street to cheer for me. I felt like a hero. Later, I flew to Washington, D.C. and went to the White House. President Roosevelt presented me with an award.
After that, Amelia was very famous. Her next goal was to fly around the world.
October 23rd, 1935. I have decided to fly all the way around the world. I will be the first woman to fly around the world. Also, I will fly around the equator. If I do it, I will hold the record for the longest distance ever traveled in one trip. It will be longer than any man has ever flown. May 21st, 1937. I said goodbye to my friends, my family, and many of my new fans today. I have begun my journey around the world. It will take several months. Today, I flew from Los Angeles to Miami, Florida.
Her last entry was on July 31st, 1937. It was very short.
Tomorrow I will be flying over Howland Island. I hope it is a nice day.
Then, the very next day, her plane crashed near Howland Island. Searchers went out to find her. President Roosevelt sent 9 Navy ships and 66 airplanes to find her. They searched for almost a month, but could not find her. Still to this day, no one has been able to find her plane. Amelia Earhart, courageous and brave woman. Just before she disappeared, Amelia wrote this letter to her husband, George Putnam.
Dear George, please know I am aware that this trip will be dangerous, but I must make this trip. Women must try to do the things that men have done. Even if I fail, I hope that my adventure will challenge other women to try.
The Enormous Turnip. Once upon a time, a farmer planted a turnip. Grow big and grow strong.
Every day he talks to that turnip.
At last you are ripe. I'm going to pull you out. But the turnip would not move. Help me pull the turnip.
Pull harder!
I'm pulling as hard as I can.
Oh.
But the turnip would not come out.
What are you doing?
We're trying to pull this turnip.
Let us help you.
I'll pull the boy.
I'll pull the woman.
I'll pull my husband.
And I'll pull the turnip. But still, the turnip would not come out.
Hey, come and help us.
What are you doing?
We are trying to pull this turnip.
Okay, everyone, on the count of 3.
Pull my tail. Ouch! Not so hard.
1, 2, 3. Oh, ow. The turnip moved just a little bit. Maybe we should just give up.
Maybe the turnip is too big.
Maybe the turnip is too strong. What are you doing? We're trying to pull this turnip. Let me help you.
You? A little mouse? Yeah. If we all work together, we can pull this turnip out.
Shall we try it one more time?
Is everyone ready?
Ready!
Come on, pull!
Harder! Heave-ho!
I can feel it moving.
Ouch! My tail!
Stop moaning and pull. Oh, here it comes. We did it together.
We make a good team.
I'm going to plant a tomato next. What do you think about that?